Now that Season 1 has ended, let's look back to see why is Jujutsu Kaisen so special. And the answer is Satoru. Case closed. Thanks for watching, see you next... I'm just kidding. Maybe. Anyway, the first thing that you notice is how much the writer has achieved in such short period of time. Only 24 episodes, or 63 chapters. Which is amazing. It feels like I have watched this story and characters for a very long time. The writer did establish the world in which the story takes place very quickly. Part of the reason for that is that the premises of the story are simple, but also the writer hits the points very accurately and efficiently, which is very impressive. One of the reasons why he was able to achieve that is the characters, the way they are designed, and I'm not talking visually. They are very different from one another in a very subtle way. Since they live in the same place and more or less have the same backstory and powers as well, it's about them trying to get better at using curses. But yet they all hold their own, and no one stands in someone else's shadow. And that's why the dialogue and the interactions are so interesting and engaging. And in a lot of cases, very funny. Which you don't expect for a story that is based on dark fantasy. I really like the mystery about the spirits, and conflicts among the humans in the organization, and how those two intertwine. Things are never straightforward, and it makes for a very intriguing story. I like that the spirits are not the same, whether it is their powers or who they are. Mahito is interested in human experiments, Hanami in nature, Jogo is interested in being Satoru's punching bag, and whatever this guy was on, or after. And then we have Satoru. I said earlier that there are a lot of great and interesting characters in this story, and the fact that the Satoru stands out so much shows you what an incredible job the writer did and how skilled he is. This is not an easy thing to do. Not every writer can pull this off. If things go bad, then that could break the story, so it is very risky. The reward is high if done right, but also the risk. But one of the things that is surprising is that it is done so early on in the story. Usually this is not done early on since there is not that much material in the story to pull this kind of stuff off, or the writer doesn't want to burn a lot of material and ideas at the beginning of the story. But also that might confuse the audience and things don't get to be established properly. But as I said, the writer is very accurate and efficient, and that's why that was possible. Again, great job. I am impressed. He also did a great job with Sukuna. The thing is, Sukuna's situation is completely different from Satoru's. This character has a lot less time, and also the way he can be used is very limited, since he's inside Yuji. But every time the writer used Sukuna, it was on point. One of my favorite scenes is the interaction between Sukuna and Mahito. It is epically done. If there were any doubts about why Sukuna was at the top, this scene solidifies it. Hail King Sukuna! The writer doesn't need much to do legendary scenes like this one. One of the other things that is really impressive in this story are the fights and powers. They are technical, which is surprising, since you don't expect to see that in a story like this. And also the scale is huge. The writer is not holding anything back. The power scale among characters is detailed. There are different grades for curse users, which can be leveled up depending on the users. And also the way the curse energy is utilized is different from character to character, which makes the fight scenes even more interesting than already are. And some characters also use weapons, and that adds another dynamic to the fights. Overall, it is quite impressive the amount of work the writer did when it comes to powers and fight scenes, especially how detailed they are. Since the story is dark fantasy, usually this type of story is not detailed. It is better to leave things vague and open, since it will suit the story better. But he found a way not just to make it work, but also go beyond that. And the result is epic. The huge success that Jujutsu Kaisen is having, it is not a surprise. It is well deserved. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.